everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is finally time for this year's Halloween Decorate With Me in-house tour video. As the crystal ball foretold, it is up a little bit late again. I put a lot of extra love and care into this one, and I really think that you guys are going to enjoy it, so let's just jump right into it.
So in natural fashion, we brought in all of the Halloween totes from the garage, and I sorted through everything to see what I wanted to use this year, and I swear every year it gets more and more overwhelming because of all these hauls that we're doing every year. Once I sorted through our massive collection, I did bring up everything that I knew for sure that I wanted to use. I did sort everything by color scheme, by theme, and by room to make the decor process a little bit easier. It just looks so aesthetic laid out though, doesn't it? Once everything was laid out, it was time to put on Sleepy Hollow, grab a very tasty festive beverage, and get started on decorating our piano. Every year we use our old piano to serve as kind of a mantelpiece since we don't have a fireplace, and we love to dress it up. I brought out our usual staples, and then I did one of my favorite things, which is to add these amazing twinkling fairy lights from Amazon into this luminary, and it's always the most aesthetic thing. I'm also bringing out this Halloween 2 looking pumpkin again this year, as well as this little, you know what, I don't know what to call it honestly. It's a little orange ball, okay? Looks like a moon with bats flying across, and it's got fairy lights in it, but I don't know what to call it. The black and orange witch and the raven on the stack of books is always a vibe, and of course, it is not Halloween decorating at Caitlin's house unless there is fall leaf garland literally everywhere. I just want to stress how much fall leaf garland will totally transform your Halloween decor. And if garland isn't enough and you want to add a little bit of extra spooky oomph, black feather boas will be your best friend. Honestly, my dress in this video looks like a giant feather boa, not gonna lie. It was a little over the top, but you know what? I wanted to kick off the season right, and I dressed for the occasion. Don't judge me. So I finished off the piano by adding in a few more statement pieces without going too crazy. And of course, to top it off, we gotta use these LED pumpkin lights that we got at Target many years ago. These have to be at least 15 years old by now. It's crazy. I love using them on our piano because they just look like they belong there, and it gives me a trick-or-treat vibe. But in real life, they do not flicker like this. They look amazing, and they give off this beautiful orange glow underneath the leaf garland, and I love it so much. So much. Next, I brought out the candle pedestal that I picked up from Bath & Body Works last year. I thought I'd bring in some green this year. I usually keep this space pretty monochromatic, just a black, white, and pops of orange. It added a little bit of extra something. This black velvet runner sure did make its rounds throughout the house this year. I need to buy more of them, I swear, but I do usually love to put it on our piano. I just think it really breaks up the monotony of the space, so the velvet adds like a deep black to that middle shelf, and it just gives it a little bit of extra dimension and depth, and it just adds a level of interest. I then added in this light up stack of jack-o'-lanterns, which I love so much. I feel like it's just such a classic piece. I brought out these two little vintage characters that I believe I bought last year, and I think they added just that classic spooky vibe. And then I couldn't resist the urge to sit down and play our piano for a moment. It had been a while, and it just felt so good to just take a little piano break. Can you guys guess what I was playing? The very last step is breaking out that Webcaster gun. It is one of my favorite parts of decorating for Halloween now. If you're going for a specific look with your cobwebs, these are going to give you those haunted house, theatrical, horror movie cobwebs. For the past few years, everyone in the comments has asked me, is it hard to remove the cobwebs? And it's not. It's basically like dried hot glue, and it peels right off in big chunks. It's super easy unless it's on fabric. I am so excited to show you guys what this piano looks like lit up at night, but for now, we are going to move on to the coffee bar. Moving on now to the coffee bar, I was so excited to get started on elevating our Halloween Carnival theme, so I made myself a very glorious, festive cup of Bones coffee, lit my very favorite fall candle for all of the vibes, and got to work. To kick off the Halloween Carnival theme this year, I decided to make some balloons. Did not think that you could DoorDash a helium tank in 20 minutes, but it happened. I had so much fun making these balloons. I have never used a helium tank before, and it was amazing. I am definitely going to be using it for future parties. I made just enough balloons to go in the kitchen as a backdrop for our carnival vibe. Look how amazing they look. Nothing screams Halloween quite like a bunch of black and orange balloons. So once those were finished, I also added a long strand of classic orange globe lights to the top of the kitchen with some fall leaf garland to truly create that Halloween carnival ambiance, and it truly transformed the room. Finally getting started on the decorating portion of the coffee bar. As usual, I started off by cleaning off the tiered tray with my very favorite Mrs. Meyer's spray in acorn spice. It just makes the kitchen smell absolutely heavenly. I started everything off with these vintage inspired Halloween mugs that I found on Amazon. They are one of the best purchases I made this year. I love them so much, and I highlighted my very favorite one on the tiered tray and topped it off with a faux whips topper that I got off of Etsy. I then started building from there by adding in a bunch of Halloween carnival inspired pieces, both old and new. And I knew this mug from Home Goods this year was going to fit in perfectly with those polka dots and the scalloped rim, and I used it to hold a bunch of circus themed straws. I kept slowly adding in different pieces, and then I just kept moving things around until the tray felt more balanced. I then added in some pumpkin spice liqueur that I got from Trader Joe's, and I finally found out what I wanted to do with that faux gumball machine from Target, and I filled it with a bunch of these very carnival circus-like candies from Amazon. They taste like licorice. And then I found the perfect use for my new open mouth jack-o'-lantern from Killstar, and that is to house all of my K-cups for the season. Then I began wrapping up the top shelf with this beaded garland in the very perfect color scheme for what we're going for here. But then I realized I first needed to add some fall leaf garland because no Halloween tiered tray is complete without some amazing fall garland. Just look at how this fills the space and truly ties everything together. Look at what this leaf garland has done for this area. It's everything. It's everything and more. I deviated for a moment from the tiered tray to decorate the shelves above the coffee bar. I added in one of my very favorite trick-or-treat signs, as well as this vintage pumpkin, the Halloween countdown, which look how many days ago I filmed this segment, you guys. Oh my goodness, I've been working on this video for weeks. The candy corn picks have returned once again to create a Halloween explosion. You can never go wrong with picks and sticks and garland, you guys. They are just the perfect filler. I then added in this Halloween carnival banner to add even more filler to the space and give it more ambiance. And of course, my very favorite set of twinkling orange fairy lights from Amazon. Honestly, if you pick up anything to decorate with ever, it's got to be fairy lights, especially these fairy lights. They transform a space instantly into a Halloween paradise. I feel like these fall napkins fit in really well, and of course, no Halloween coffee bar is complete without some Bones coffee. Then I realized that I have this garland that I picked up from Michael's this year, which is absolutely perfect for this theme. I just felt like hanging it here was adding a little too much. It was a little too much up top, so you guys will see that I add it to the bottom shelf later. I then stocked the bottom two shelves with some of my favorite Halloween jars and spooky snacks. After a few final touches of decor around the kitchen to tie the theme together, we are finally done with our Halloween Carnival coffee bar. I hope you guys really enjoyed how I elevated this theme this year, and I'm so excited to show you guys what it looks like lit up at night. This year I decided to do something completely different in my office, and that is a Blair Witch inspired bar cart. Now I know this is not practical, but I really love themed areas, and the Blair Witch is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It is a tradition for me every summer and every October, and a few months ago I just decided that I wanted to do something completely different and theme an area around one of my favorite movies, so that's what I did. This is my little Caitlin Blair Witch project. I started out by making a bunch of stick figures for the very first time. This is the most fun I've had with a craft project in a really long time, and I made a whole evening out of it. I bought a lot of different supplies to make them. I did use some branches from outside, but I also ordered different materials that I could use to create some dimension on the stick figures. I added in these little bundles of branches, tied it on with some twine, hot glued some Spanish moss on top, and it really created the spookiest little stick figures, and I am just so pleased with this DIY. I had so much fun doing it. Please pardon my hot glue gun. It is literally from the 90s, and that is why I love it so much, because it's been there with me through hundreds of craft projects. We're a team, okay? I don't want to have to replace it if I don't have to. Having said that, let's get started on decorating the bar cart. So I made this poster in Canva that was inspired by the missing poster from the film. Also, this music you're hearing, I created myself. I didn't want to get copyright striked by using the Blair Witch music, so I made my own. I started out by adding the largest stick figure that I made, since I already hung the others from the ceiling. I then added in some spooky trees, a Burkittsville candle from my favorite creator, Sickwicks, as well as this very on-theme bottle of wine. Next, I added in the skeleton hand wine glasses that I love so much, as well as this vintage VHS tape that I got off of eBay. I know that I have a copy somewhere floating around in my house, but I've only been watching the DVD for years. I don't know if you guys think it's cheesy, but this is a movie night themed bar cart here. We're just going for straight up fun and an homage to the film here. And then I filled the wine glasses with marshmallows. If you know, you know. I then wanted to incorporate some dried leaves and twigs. On the bottom of the cart, I highlighted one of my favorite Halloween signs that we have, that burlap twine witchy vibe, and this bottle of Apothic Dark, has so many Blair Witchy elements to it. Like, look at it. It's got that owl for me, which represents Blair Witch 2. It's got the branches. It's just a whole vibe. And then I had to add the main books from the film that Heather talks about in the beginning, the Field Notebook and How to Stay Alive in the Woods. And then I decided to incorporate the mini stickmen that I made down here, as well as the ceramic owl that we painted black, which again for me represents Blair Witch 2, because the scene with Kim and the owl I think is my favorite scene from Blair Witch 2. As a few final touches, I added in this grave in the back, just because I felt that it was a little bit bare, as well as this handheld camera. Now, this camera I bought in 2012 with the intentions of starting a YouTube channel back then. I filmed a bunch of videos and never felt comfortable posting them. Placed the camera on some dried leaves to give it that found footage vibe. I wanted to add some DV tapes, but I could not find them. I wanted to put them in the little bowl with the leaves. It would have been awesome. It would have been awesome, but I could not find my little tapes, man, so just pretend that they're there. I then added in some creepy cloth for a little extra dimension, and then I decided that I needed a pile of rocks, of course. So I added this pile of rocks that I collected at a beach earlier this summer and stacked them in a way that looked aesthetic, and I used them as a pedestal for my October Spell perfume. I then decided to add in a film slate. They use a slate a couple times earlier on in the film, and I really felt like the slate was necessary to tie the whole theme together. I hope that you guys enjoyed this segment of the video. I know it's a little bit different from what I usually do, but that was the point. I wanted to branch out and start doing more themed areas, since that is something that I really enjoy doing. I love paying homage to my favorite films, so this is just the beginning. Moving on now to the Art Deco living room, music video style. With this year's dining table, I wanted to take it back to our roots and create a dining area that is inspired by the way we used to decorate when I was a kid, with a little bit of a modern spin on it. So I started out by adding this jack-o'-lantern tablecloth, which we've had for at least 15 years now. So the black is actually a nice washed out vintage black, which is really cool. Since it is a bit old, I like to cover it with this spiderweb tablecloth on top, and it just really gives it a lot of creepy, cool dimension to it. I then added in this very interesting candelabra, which we bought many years ago, and it kind of looks like a cross between a wreath and a candelabra. At the end of the whole look, you'll see that I add fairy lights to it, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. I added in a few more traditional pieces. We've always used this Dracula mug on our table every year because it's just such a statement piece. The witch that I've added to the table is from the early to mid 90s. Many of you may recognize it. It's not Halloween unless I put her on our table, honestly. And we've always used this jack-o'-lantern lamp, which is literally from 1996. I love it so much. It is so spooky vintage, and it reminds me of this Halloween party we used to go to every year with our family, and those were the days, man. And then I continued on by adding these spiderweb placemats. They still are my favorite. I realize that I'm putting black on black and spiderweb on spiderweb, but you know what? I like that. It's a me thing, but I feel like it works. Now, growing up, we never used to do place settings on our Halloween tables, but this year I really wanted to because of these amazing plates that I found on Amazon this year that are so classically, perfectly vintage. It's insane. And I was so excited to set the table with these this year. You have no idea. Now, in the past, I've done slightly more theatrical decor for our dining area, using the Webcaster gun and creating a Sleepy Hollow inspired cemetery as a tablescape. But this year, I wanted to take it back to our roots and create a table that just screams vintage Halloween. In the background, you'll see that I've added an orange and black wreath, some creepy cloth, and that sign that I got this year from Killstar. Once I put them in their proper places, I added in these amazing wine glasses that are just like that luminary that we have on the piano. They are copper inside, and when illuminated, they do create a very spooky, eerie glow. I then decided to add in these black and orange checkered napkins with the bat napkin holders, and I decided to fan them out this year and lay them across the plate, which I feel made it really fun and tied the look together. To elevate that green glow, I am adding in some green cobwebs on top to create that bubbling cauldron effect that I do love so much. At the end, I decided that the room was missing something, so I decided to do this crepe paper curtain at the top, and I feel like it really tied the whole backdrop together. Huge shout out to my mom for helping me hang the crepe paper. You're the real MVP. And then we realized that I had forgotten to put on the table runner. How fun, after I had just set everything, but we did find it. It really brought the table together. And then I switched out the middle orange candle with a black one, which I felt fit much better. And as I stated earlier, I added fairy lights to the bottom of the candelabra. We also added some corn stalks this year to our dining room with those orange opaque lights, and it just truly brought the area to life. So that is it for the dining portion. Moving on now to the Tiki Bar. Next, we are moving on to the Tiki Bar, and you guys know the drill with this one. This is always one of my favorite areas to put together. It's such a fun area and serves as a finale to me, so I'm just gonna let you guys vibe out once again music video style, so I hope you enjoy. Finally, we've reached the very best part of this video, which is all of the decor lit up at night. I hope you guys enjoy.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments below which area was your favorite. I think mine was the Blair Witch bar cart, just because it was so different and I had so much fun with it. I think this may be the start of more movie themed content for me in the future, so if that's something you guys want to see, don't forget to subscribe. I hope you all had a very happy Halloween, and I will see you in the next video. Stay spooky.